self-defacing, his self-destructive, stick with me, Brother Moyer, behavior. There's something called, if you can recall, a mob mentality. That's real. A mob mentality exists when the individual gets caught up, gets captured, get controlled by the influence, by the choices, by the behavior of the mob, of the herd, of the crowd they hang with, of the crew, of the gang they're a part of. So much so that the individual person is lost in the mob. His personality is lost in the mob. His sense of responsibility is lost in the mob. And his mind lost in the mob. This mentality does not begin as legion. It doesn't begin as a mob. It starts with the individual and with his impulses and with his appetites and with his desires and with his pursuits. It starts with the individual's selfish, self-pleasing pursuits, his or her thought patterns. That's where mob mentality begins, his or her thought patterns, choice selections, decision-making, and personal preferences. It begins with this individual's ideas and actions and behaviors and practices that take on a life of their own. Let me give you an example. A habit that they can't kick will lead to mob behavior. A compulsion that they can't control. An addiction that they just can't satisfy. A pain that they can't relieve. A lifestyle that they can't reject. A life choice that they cannot now change. In other words, there's a mob, there's a raging, rioting mob in you that you can't avoid, that you can't resist, that you can't outrun, because the mob, the rioting mob is within you. The mob is within you and out of control, so much that you are out of control. You said that you were doing your own thing, but you were really out of control. You said with a smile, you were just sowing your wild oats, but you were really out of control. You said, I'm just trying to find myself, but you were really out of control. The word of God says that such behavior is the work of the flesh. Galatians 5:19. The result of living by the motto, if it feels good, do it. It looks like adultery and fornication. It looks like idolatry and witchcraft. It looks like fights and jealousy. It looks like anger and ambitions, drunkenness, orgies, and lasciviousness. That means immoral actions and immoral behavior. And it all results from you trying to do life your way all the time. I want to say it again, but I want to say it a little differently. Repetitive, loveless, cheap sex. A stinking accumulation of mental and emotional garbage. A frenzied, joyless grab for happiness. Gods become your trinkets. Trinkets become your gods. Magic show religion. Paranoid loneliness. Cutthroat competition. All-consuming, never satisfied wants and desires. A brutal temper. An inability to love. An inability to be loved. An inability to love anybody but yourself. I'm talking about divided homes and divided lives. I'm talking about small-minded, lopsided pursuits. The vicious habit of depersonalizing other people. They become your rival. They become objects. I'm talking about uncontrolled and uncontrollable addictions, ugly parodies of our communities. I could go on and on and on like a rioting mob within myself and in your midst, which the word of God simply calls an unclean spirit, which is demonic possession, satanic seduction, and evil spirits. More and more movies are coming out. Have you noticed that? More and more television programs, and I'm not talking about cable. Are you listening to me? I'm just saying God calls it sin. And after all, sin is separation. This man experienced separation. This man was living like that because he was experiencing separation from God, separation from his family, separation from his siblings, separation from himself. You do know that insanity, in a sense, is separation from self. You do know that, in a sense, insanity is separation from self. You see, sin separates, and rioting sin alienates. It alienates and it isolates, and it deteriorates the soul of the human being. It rapes and it robs us of all of our relationships. You do know where I'm going. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again, Brother Wallace. I want you to go with me if nobody else. When it comes to life and living, it's all about sin rapes and robs us of all of our. And the tragedy is, when it comes to life and living, it's all about, or it ain't about. Being lost is all about relationship, or the lack of it. Being saved is all about relationship and the reality of it. Family is all about relationship. Community is all about relationship. Sin within produces sinful behavior without. Sin within, unseen,
heavy statement,
produces sinful behavior without, which all can see. Behavior without, seen by all, whether individual behavior or communal behavior. When it reaches a critical mass, it becomes a new norm.
Teach, Doctor.
I'm not talking about genocide. I'm talking about fratricide. Us,
that's right,
killing us. We've accepted it. There's a critical mass that has helped us accept it, and it has created a new norm.
He used the word fratricide. It means killing of a brother.
5 more
I used that term in one of my videos.
How many look like you and me? How many perpetrated by somebody who looks like you and me? And we young. It was 5. 109 in the first 6 months. And we applaud because it's less than the 123 that it was last year at this time.
He's talking about the murders in Baltimore.
Saying, it creates a new norm. 2009, 238. 2010, 223. 2011, 197. And the city celebrated, because for the first time in 15 years, it was less than
300. We was in the 300s all through the 80s and early 90s.
And then in 212, it was 217. And then last year, it was 235. I'm going to say it again. I need you to get this, because you didn't hear this last time I told you. Behavior without, seen by all, whether individual, it becomes communal, and when it reaches a critical mass, we accept it, and it becomes a new norm for our people. It's accepted by our people. The body revealing clothes, too tight and too loose. That's the new norm.
Yes, it is.
You can't say nothing about that. My daughters package themselves in a way that says breast, belly button, butt.
Speak, Doctor. You won't have too many preachers that will publicly make statements like that. And there they go. There they go right there.
I know it wasn't Sunday. I know how you dress on Sunday, but sometime during the week, I seen you out at White Marsh.
Speak, doctor.